Good evening and welcome. Wherever you are, I invite you to set everything aside for a while. Allow your body to become still, your breathing to soften, and your mind to rest. You don't need to do anything at all now, only to listen, to drift, and to let yourself be carried by a quiet story. Tonight, we wander through the ruins of time. We will step softly into 3 cities, each of them once alive with voices, footsteps, laughter, and song. They stood in different lands and in different ages, yet they share a fate that binds them together, once powerful, once thriving, once beautiful. Now they lie silent, their streets empty, their walls broken, their names half, whispered by history. These are cities buried in time: Pompeii, Petra, Babylon. Pompeii, a Roman town resting beside a calm blue sea, its people living in comfort, unaware that the mountain behind them hid a quiet fury. Petra, the rose red city, carved from living rock, hidden deep in the desert, where travelers once brought spices, silk, and incense to trade under the burning sun. And Babylon, a mighty capital on the banks of the Euphrates, glowing with temples and towers, where kings carved laws into stone and dreamed of building gardens that touched the sky. Each of these cities is gone now, but not entirely. They remain, not only in stone and sand, but in the stories they left behind. To visit them is to walk into a dream. So tonight, as you rest, we will wander slowly through these ancient places. We will not hurry. We will not rush. Instead, we will move gently, step by step, letting the ruins rise quietly around us until they feel alive again. We will imagine the warmth of their sun, the voices of their people, the scent of bread, the music of water, the quiet of evening. And when the time comes, we will watch as each city fades again into silence, like a candle slowly dimming in the night. First, we will enter Pompeii, a city of cobbled streets, of painted walls, of gardens filled with lemon trees. We will walk its marketplaces, its baths, and its theaters. We will meet its people in the stillness of memory, and then we will stand with them on the day when fire and ash fell from the sky, when the mountain woke, and time itself seemed to stop. Pompeii is a place frozen forever, a snapshot of life, caught in its final breath. Then we will travel east, across deserts and mountains, until we come to Petra. The way will be long and narrow, the walls of stone rising on either side. And when we emerge from the shadows, we will see the city itself, carved into cliffs, glowing red and gold in the sunlight. We will hear the voices of traders and camel drivers, the footsteps of pilgrims, the splashing of fountains drawn from hidden channels of water. And as night falls, we will watch Petra fade into darkness, until only the stars remain above its silent facades. Finally, we will journey further back, into the land between 2 rivers, Mesopotamia, where Babylon once rose. Here we will see great gates of blue brick, decorated with lions and bulls. We will hear the hum of markets, the chanting of priests, the whispers of scribes setting down words in clay. We will imagine the hanging gardens, whether real or legend, and we will walk along the banks of the Euphrates as the city glows in the fading light. And then, as centuries pass, Babylon too will crumble, its walls falling into dust, its name lingering only in story and in song. This is our path tonight, a quiet journey into the past, not to study or analyze, but simply to rest in wonder. We will not be rushed, we will not be disturbed. The ruins are waiting, patient and still, and they will reveal themselves in their own time. So let your body relax, let your breathing slow. Imagine yourself stepping softly into a dream, where stone and sand hold secrets, where forgotten cities wait beneath the stars, and now we begin. Imagine, for a moment, that you are traveling through the countryside of southern Italy, long before cars, long before trains, long before the world you know now. The year is far back in time, and you are walking along a dusty road. The air carries the scent of salt from the Bay of Naples, and a breeze moves gently across vineyards heavy with grapes. Olive groves stretch in quiet rows, their leaves shimmering silver in the sunlight. Somewhere nearby, a shepherd guides his flock with a soft whistle, the sound carrying lightly across the fields. This is Campania, a land that the Romans considered blessed, a place of abundance and beauty. The soil is dark and fertile, nourished by an ancient mountain that slumbers nearby. Hills roll down to the sea, where fishing boats bob gently on the waves. Villages cluster around temples and forums, and in the distance, one city stands out, its walls strong, its streets laid with stone. This is Pompeii. As you walk closer, the sounds of the city begin to rise around you. The clatter of carts pulled by oxen, their wooden wheels rattling over cobblestones, the calls of merchants inviting passers by to taste fresh fruit, olives, and bread warm from the oven. The chatter of children playing in the street, their laughter echoing against plastered walls painted in rich reds and yellows. Even from outside the gates, the life of Pompeii hums like a quiet song. Passing beneath the great stone arch of the city gate, you step inside. The air feels different here, warmer, filled with the mingling sense of cooking, of smoke from hearths, of perfumes carried on the breeze. The streets are narrow but alive. You see shop fronts open to the road, their counters displaying clay jars filled with wine, bowls of olives, baskets of figs. Bakers move busily in their shops, the golden smell of bread drifting outward into the crowd. Above the streets rise tall houses, their walls painted in bright colors. Some are simple, belonging to ordinary families who live above their shops. Others are grand villas with gardens hidden behind high walls, where fountains splash softly into stone basins and lemon trees cast cool shadows. The city is a blend of quiet luxury and everyday labor, each piece fitting together like a mosaic. Walking further, you hear the steady sound of water. Aqueducts, marvels of Roman engineering, bring fresh water down from the hills, feeding fountains at the crossroads. Citizens pause here to drink, to wash their hands, or to fill clay jugs to carry home. The fountains themselves are decorated with faces of gods and spirits, their mouths forever pouring streams of clear water into basins worn smooth by centuries of use. The people you pass are varied. Wealthy men in white togas stroll slowly, speaking of politics and trade. Women in long, flowing stolas carry baskets of fruit or small jugs of oil. Children dart past, their sandals slapping the stones as they chase each other. Slaves move quietly through the crowd, bearing heavy loads or leading their masters' animals. Each face, each gesture, each sound adds another layer to the tapestry of life. Above it all, the mountain stands. Mount Vesuvius, tall and green, rising in the distance like a quiet guardian. Its slopes are covered in vineyards, its soil rich and generous. To the people of Pompeii, it is a gift, a source of fertile land, a provider of fine wine that is carried across the empire. Few give thought to the idea that the mountain might hold danger. To them, it is steady, eternal, unshakable, and so life goes on. Pompeii thrives. Its streets are alive from sunrise to sunset, filled with voices, footsteps, and the low hum of daily life. The city is proud, but it is also ordinary, not a place of emperors or vast palaces, but of merchants, artisans, farmers, and families, and in this ordinariness lies its beauty, a window into the rhythm of Roman life, caught in a moment before history would change it forever. For now, though we are only arriving, we are stepping softly into Pompeii, seeing its gates, its shops, its people. The day is calm, the sun shines warm, and the mountain rests. Time is still unbroken, and the city is alive. The sun rises gently over the Bay of Naples, painting the horizon with shades of pale gold and soft pink. The air is still cool, touched by the night's calm, but already the city of Pompeii is beginning to stir. From every street, every doorway, life awakens. The sounds are not loud or hurried, but a steady hum, the gentle rhythm of a community greeting the day. You walk once more along the narrow streets, and you notice how carefully they are laid. The stones beneath your feet are worn smooth by countless footsteps and the rolling of wooden carts. Raised stepping stones cross the roads, so that even when water from fountains or rain flows down the gutters, citizens can pass without wetting their sandals. The Romans built their cities with purpose, and here, even in the small details, there is order. At the corner of the street, a bakery comes alive. The smell of bread drifts into the air, warm and earthy. Inside, large stone mills, turned by donkeys, grind grain into fine flour. The baker and his assistants knead dough by hand, shaping loaves before sliding them into deep, dome-shaped ovens heated by wood and ash. Soon the bread will be ready round loaves with scored tops, perfect for tearing and sharing. Some will be eaten at home, others sold at the market, and still others sent to the homes of wealthier families. A little further on, you pass a thermopolium, a kind of Roman snack bar, where food is served directly from clay jars set into a stone counter. The jars are filled with stews, beans, olives, and spiced wine. Customers stop here on their way to work, exchanging coins for a quick meal. The voices you hear are cheerful, ordinary workers sharing a laugh before heading off, neighbors greeting one another in passing. In the heart of Pompeii lies the Forum, the city's open square. Here the space is wide and airy, surrounded by colonnades and temples. The Forum is both marketplace and meeting place, the center of civic life. Merchants lay out their goods, baskets of figs and pomegranates, jars of olive oil, amphorae of wine, bolts of cloth, and trinkets of bronze and glass. Farmers bring in their produce from the countryside, their carts laden with cabbages, garlic, and onions, while fishermen arrive with baskets of fresh catch, their nets still damp from the morning sea. Amid the bustle, magistrates in white togas consult scrolls and speak with citizens about taxes, trade, and local disputes. Priests tend to the small shrines, lighting incense and pouring libations of wine to the gods. Children tug at their mothers' garments, begging for sweets, while dogs weave between the crowd, their tails wagging in hopes of scraps. The air is alive with sound not overwhelming, but steady and human, the sound of a city breathing. Step away from the Forum, and you find yourself in a quieter street lined with houses. Some are simple, with wooden doors and small windows. Inside, the rooms are modest, with rough walls and few decorations. These belong to craftsmen, laborers, and families of the world. They are not grand, but they are homes, places of meals, of stories, of laughter. Other houses, however, are grand villas. Passing through a doorway, you might find yourself in a spacious atrium open to the sky. In the center, a pool of water glistens, catching the sunlight. Frescoes line the walls, painted with scenes of gods, heroes, and landscapes. The floors are decorated with mosaics, each tiny tile laid carefully into patterns of flowers, animals, or geometric designs. Behind the atrium, a garden stretches outward, shaded by pergolas and planted with roses, herbs, and lemon trees. A fountain bubbles softly, its water catching the light as it splashes into a marble basin. In such villas, wealthy families host gatherings, feasts, and performances, filling the air with conversation and music. As the day unfolds, other rhythms of life appear. The public baths, an essential part of Roman society, open their doors. Men and women, separately, enter to wash, to relax, and to socialize. Inside, the baths are a world of their own. Hot rooms heated by furnaces beneath the floor, warm pools to soak in, and cold basins to refresh the body. Steam drifts through vaulted chambers, carrying with it the mingled scents of oil, sweat, and clean water. Here, business is discussed, friendships are renewed, and stories are exchanged. Elsewhere, craftsmen bend to their work. Potters shape clay into jars, their hands steady and practiced. Metal workers hammer bronze into tools and ornaments, while weavers sit at their looms, the steady clack of wood filling their workshops. Artists paint frescoes and carve statues, giving beauty to walls and courtyards. Each trade contributes to the city, each pair of hands shaping a small part of Pompeii's life. As the sun rises higher, you notice how the city itself is built to serve its people. Fountains stand at every corner, fed by aqueducts that bring water down from the mountains. Stone benches provide places to rest in the shade. Temples rise above the streets, each one dedicated to a god or goddess, Jupiter, Venus, Apollo, their columns reaching toward the sky. Shrines are tucked into street corners and homes, where offerings of fruit, bread, and wine are left in thanks for daily blessings. Yet amid all this activity, there is a sense of calm. Pompeii is alive, but it is not hurried. Life follows the steady rhythm of sunrise and sunset, of market days and feast days, of work and rest. The people here do not know that time is about to stop for them. They live as people always do, unaware of how precious each moment is until it is gone. As evening comes, the streets begin to quiet. Lamps are lit, casting soft pools of light against the walls. Families gather around meals of bread, cheese, olives, and wine. Stories are told, prayers are whispered to the household gods, and children drift into sleep as the night grows deep. Above them, Mount Vesuvius looms silent, steady, unthreatening. The people see only its fertile slopes, its vineyards heavy with grapes. They do not hear the faint rumble beneath, or if they do, they dismiss it as nothing. To them, the mountain is eternal, and their city, Pompeii, will last forever. But for now, in this moment, the city is whole. Its streets are alive, its people content, its life flowing in an endless rhythm. And as you listen, you too may feel that rhythm calm, steady, reassuring. Pompeii is alive, and night has only just begun. The morning begins like so many others in Pompeii. The first light of dawn spreads across the Bay of Naples, casting a golden shimmer upon the water. Fishing boats drift quietly back toward the harbor, their nets heavy with the night's catch. The air smells of salt and seaweed, and gulls circle above, their cries echoing in the soft stillness of early morning. Within the city, shutters creak open as households stir awake. Servants sweep courtyards, women knead bread, and children rub sleep from their eyes. The streets slowly fill, the stone, paved roads gleaming faintly with dew. A fountain gurgles at the corner, its water cool and fresh, and neighbors exchange greetings as they come to fill their jars. It is an ordinary day, a calm day. Nothing seems unusual. In the marketplace, the stalls open one by one. Farmers lay out their produce baskets of figs, olives, cucumbers, and fragrant herbs freshly gathered. Fishermen display gleaming silver fish and squid, while butchers prepare cuts of meat on their counters. The colors are bright, the smells rich and earthy, and the voices of merchants blend into a chorus of bargaining and laughter. Nearby, craftsmen open their workshops. A blacksmith stokes his fire, sparks leaping upward as he hammers iron into shape. A potter arranges jars and lamps for sale, their clay surfaces still warm from the kiln. Textile workers bring bolts of dyed cloth into the street, letting the sunlight catch their vivid reds, yellows, and blues. Everywhere you look, there is movement not hurried but steady, like the heartbeat of the city itself. Children dart between the stalls, chasing each other in games of tag. Dogs bark playfully, weaving through the crowd. At a street corner, a storyteller gathers a small audience spinning tales of gods, heroes, and adventures on distant seas. People pause to listen, smiling, before continuing on their way. At the public baths, the day's first visitors arrive. The warm rooms fill with steam, soft light filtering through high windows. The sound of conversation rises in gentle tones, friends greeting one another, traders discussing deals, philosophers debating questions of faith and virtue. Outside, men sit on stone benches, enjoying the warmth of the sun, while they oil their skin and stretch before entering the baths. The baths are not only a place of cleanliness, but of community, where lives intersect and stories are shared. In the villas of the wealthy, preparations are underway for midday feasts. Servants polish bronze lamps and pour wine into elegant amphorae. Musicians tune their instruments, lyres and flutes ready to fill the rooms with music. In shaded gardens, fountains bubble softly, their water cooling the air, while slaves arrange platters of fruit and bread upon marble tables. The atmosphere is one of leisure, of comfort, of life flowing in its natural rhythm. And all the while, Mount Vesuvius stands in the distance. Its slopes are green, its ridges softened by vineyards and olive groves. To most, it is no more than a backdrop, a familiar shape on the horizon, unchanging and eternal. If there are tremors, they are faint, almost unnoticed, like the size of the earth. No one pays them much attention. The mountain has always been there, and always, it seems, it will remain. As the sun climbs higher, the city grows warmer. The streets shimmer in the light, and people retreat to shaded colonnades or cool rooms within their homes. Lunch is eaten in courtyards, bread with olives, cheese, figs, and watered wine. Children nap in the shade, lulled by the hum of cicadas, while adults rest or work quietly indoors. The city moves into a slower rhythm, calm and untroubled. By late afternoon, the streets stir again. Shops reopen, merchants call out their wares, and the marketplace fills once more with voices. In the theater, performers prepare for evening plays, painting their faces and rehearsing their lines. Citizens gather, eager for entertainment, while vendors sell roasted nuts and spiced wine to the growing crowd. In another part of the city, gladiators train in their barracks. The sound of wooden swords clashing echoes against stone walls. Young men watch in awe, dreaming of strength and glory, while older men place bets on the matches to come. The air is thick with sweat and determination, but also with excitement. The games are a favorite pastime, a burst of energy and spectacle in the life of the city. As evening falls, lamps are lit in homes and streets. The glow of firelight flickers against walls painted with bright frescoes, scenes of gardens, animals, and gods. Families gather for supper, stews of lentils, roasted meats, sweet cakes flavored with honey. Laughter fills the air, mingled with the murmur of conversation and the soft strains of music drifting from open windows. The night deepens, and the stars emerge above Pompeii. The mountain looms quietly in the distance, its dark shape silhouetted against the sky. To those who gaze upon it, it seems peaceful, timeless, a part of the world as steady as the sea or the sky. No one imagines what lies within it, waiting, and so the city sleeps. Doors are closed, lamps extinguished, children tucked beneath blankets of wool. The streets grow silent, the fountains still trickle, and only the occasional bark of a dog or the hoot of an owl disturbs the calm. Pompeii, unaware, rests beneath the shadow of the mountain. It is an ordinary day. A perfect day, and it will be the last of its kind. The morning of the next day begins quietly, just as before. The sun rises over the Bay of Naples, casting the same soft glow across the water. Fishermen once again pull their nets, bakers heat their ovens, merchants open their stalls. Life moves forward in its familiar rhythm, and yet the air feels different, subtle, but different. At first, it is only a faint tremor, a shiver beneath the ground, so small that many do not notice it. A jar rattles slightly on a shelf. A dog barks nervously and runs down the street. Some citizens pause, glance at one another, and shrug. The earth has trembled before, and always life has gone on. But as the morning unfolds, the signs grow harder to ignore. Birds rise suddenly from the fields, flapping in startled clouds. The dogs refuse food, whining and pulling at their chains. A strange heaviness lingers in the air, a warmth that seems to press down rather than lift away. From the direction of Mount Vesuvius comes a distant sound, a low, rolling thunder, though the sky above remains perfectly clear. By midday, the mountain itself begins to change. At first, it is only a thin plume of smoke, rising lazily from its peak. People stop in the streets, pointing. Some laugh, some frown, others whisper to one another. It is nothing. One man says, a fire on the slopes, perhaps a gift from the gods. Another jokes, yet as the hours pass, the plume thickens, darkening from gray to black, swelling upward into the sky. Shadows creep across Pompeii, though the sun still burns above. The cloud from the mountain grows, a column rising higher and higher until it spreads outward like the branches of a pine tree. Ash begins to fall, soft at first, like a dusting of flour shaken from the sky. It gathers on rooftops, on shoulders, in the folds of tunics. Children laugh and chase it, not yet understanding. But their parents call them indoors, voices uneasy. The air grows thicker, harder to breathe. The smell of sulfur lingers, sharp and bitter, catching in the throat. More tremors shake the ground stronger now, enough to rattle doors, to tip small jars from shelves, to send ripples across the water in fountains and basins. People begin to hurry through the streets, unsure of where to go, carrying bundles of possessions, calling to family members, urging one another onward. Still, there is no true panic, not yet. The Romans are practical, accustomed to storms, to floods, to the whims of nature. Many believe it will pass, that the mountain will quiet as it always has. They seek shelter in their homes, closing shutters against the falling ash. Others climb to rooftops to watch, marveling at the sight. For indeed, it is a sight unlike any other, a column of fire and smoke rising endlessly, glowing from within with flashes of lightning. It is terrible, and it is beautiful, but as the afternoon deepens, fear takes hold. Stones begin to fall small at first, then larger, hard lumps of pumice raining down with a steady clatter. Roofs groan beneath the weight, streets grow slippery, blanketed in ash. Voices cry out in confusion. Prayers are shouted to the gods, and the order of the city begins to dissolve. In the forum, crowds gather, looking skyward. Some plead at the temples, offering sacrifices in desperation. Others argue loudly about what to do to flee the city, or to stay within its walls. The magistrates, once so confident, now stand uncertain, their scrolls and decisions useless before the force of the mountain. The air darkens further, the ash clouds spreading wider, blotting out the sun. Day begins to look like twilight. Lamps are lit, though it is not yet evening. The mountain roars, a deep, unearthly sound that seems to come from the bones of the earth itself. The ground heaves beneath your feet, shaking walls, sending cracks through plaster, toppling amphorae in storage rooms. Some begin to flee toward the gates, clutching their children, carrying bundles of food, water, and valuables. Carts creak under the weight of hastily packed belongings, oxen straining as their drivers shout. But the streets are crowded, the stones slippery with ash, and progress is slow. Others remain behind, too fearful to leave, hoping their strong stone houses will shield them. As night falls, the sky glows red with fire. The mountain spits out streams of molten rock, though they fall mostly on its far slopes. Pumice rains down harder, filling streets, piling on rooftops, burying gardens and courtyards. People stumble beneath the weight, their footsteps muffled by the thick, choking ash. The once familiar city is transformed, its colors dulled, its sounds muffled, as though wrapped in a heavy shroud, and still, the eruption does not end. Hour after hour, the rain of pumice continues. The ash cloud swells, flashes of lightning crackling within it like veins of fire. The air grows so thick with dust that torches and lamps glow faintly, their light swallowed by the darkness. Breathing becomes difficult, every breath filled with grit. People tie cloth over their mouths, pour water over their faces, cling to one another as the city groans and shifts around them. It is no longer just confusion now, but fear. Fear that grows heavy in every heart, fear that spreads in whispers and shouts, in the frantic movement of people searching for escape. The city of Pompeii, once steady and proud, trembles beneath the weight of the mountain's fury. And yet, even as disaster unfolds, there is a strange stillness. The falling ash muffles sound, cloaking the city in an eerie quiet between the roars of the mountain. The streets, once full of life, are now ghostly, shapes moving through a gray haze, lit by the dull glow of torches. Time itself seems to slow, as though the city is slipping into a dream from which it will not awaken. This is how the eruption begins, not with one sudden blow, but with a rising tide of ash and stone, confusion and awe. The mountain has awakened, and Pompeii stands beneath its shadow, unsure, unprepared, and unable to stop what is to come. Night has fallen over Pompeii, though the sky is not dark in the way night should be. The stars are hidden, the moon invisible. Instead, the heavens glow with a strange red light cast upward from the mountain itself. The great cloud rising from Vesuvius spreads wider and wider, blotting out the firmament, its edges lit with flashes of fire. Within its billowing mass, lightning flickers silently, illuminating the ash as though the gods themselves were striking their hammers in the sky. The streets of Pompeii are thick with ash, soft beneath the feet, muffling the sound of sandals and wheels. Pumice continues to fall, tapping against rooftops, clattering in courtyards, bouncing from the stone, paved roads. It falls endlessly, a steady rain of gray and white, piling higher with each passing hour. Roofs sag under its weight. Beams creak. In some houses, tiles give way, crashing down with sudden force, startling those who had taken shelter inside. Families rush into the streets, coughing, clutching one another, their eyes wide in the dim glow of oil lamps. Breathing has become difficult. The air is thick with dust, dry and bitter, clinging to the throat and lungs. Some cover their faces with cloth, dampened with water in hopes of easing the burn. Others clutch at their chests, gasping, as though the very air is turning against them. Voices call out in the haze cries for help, for family members, for guidance, but the falling ash swallows sound, leaving only muffled echoes. Through the gray fog, the city is transformed. Fountains overflow with grit and sand. Statues stand ghost-like, their once, bright marble dulled to shadow. The paintings on walls fade beneath a veil of dust, their colors hidden, their stories silenced. Even the animals grow restless. Horses stamp in their stables, dogs whine and howl, birds flee into the darkness, their wings beating against the thickening sky. Still, the eruption does not rest. The mountain groans, a deep rumble that shakes the very ground. At times, a thunderous roar rolls outward, as though the earth itself is splitting. Great chunks of glowing rock are hurled skyward, landing on distant slopes. From the crater, fountains of fire leap upward, casting brief, terrible light across the bay. To those who watch from afar, it is a spectacle of awe, both beautiful and dreadful. To those in Pompeii, it is a storm without end. Some families decide to flee. They gather what little they can carry: a cloak, a jug of water, a handful of coins, and move toward the city gates. But the roads are choked with ash, and the air grows thicker with every step. Torches burn dim, their flames struggling against the suffocating dust. In the confusion, people stumble, some losing their way, others turning back in despair. The city that once felt so familiar is now a maze of shadow and smoke. Others remain in their homes, hoping the walls will shield them. They pray to the household gods, lighting small offerings even as the ash seeps in through cracks and doorways. Parents hold children close, whispering reassurances, though their own voices tremble. The wealthy retreat into inner rooms, clutching valuables, believing stone and marble will protect them. Yet all are equal beneath the mountain's fury. The ash falls without distinction, covering palaces and workshops, gardens and alleys, villas and stables alike. As midnight approaches, the weight of the pumice grows unbearable. Roofs collapse one after another, sending showers of dust into the air. The streets echo with the sound of breaking wood and falling stone. Entire courtyards vanish beneath drifts of ash. The city is being buried, not suddenly, but steadily, grain by grain, as though time itself is laying a shroud across Pompeii. And then a new terror begins. From the mountainside, clouds of fire and ash rush outward, not drifting slowly, but rolling swiftly down the slopes, devouring everything in their path. They move like waves, heavy and hot, glowing from within. To the eye, they seem alive, surging with unstoppable force. To those in their way, there is no escape. The people of Pompeii do not yet understand what is coming. They hear the roar, feel the ground tremble, see the glow on the horizon. Some believe the gods themselves have descended in wrath. Others cling to hope, waiting for the storm to pass. But the storm is only beginning. Still, amid the fear, there are moments of quiet. Families huddled together in their atriums. Neighbors offering water to one another at the fountains. Strangers helping the elderly along the streets, carrying children, sharing cloaks. Even in disaster, the threads of humanity remain small kindnesses glowing faintly, like lamps in the darkness. The hours stretch endlessly. The mountain does not rest. The ash continues to fall. The tremors continue to shake the ground. The sky continues to glow with fire. Pompeii, once bright and bustling, is now silent beneath its blanket of ash, save for the occasional cry, the distant rumble, the steady hiss of falling pumice. By the time the first light of dawn should appear, the city is already half buried. The rooftops sag and crumble, the streets lie hidden beneath deep drifts, and the familiar landmarks are fading from sight. Pompeii is no longer the city it was, but something else entirely, a shadow of itself, caught in the slow embrace of the mountain's wrath. And yet, the story is not finished. The night of fire and ash is only the beginning of the end. The day to come will bring something even more final. For now, the city waits, silent, covered. Dreaming beneath the ash, as the mountain roars above it. The dawn that should have broken over Pompeii never truly arrives. Instead of golden light rising over the Bay of Naples, the horizon is wrapped in ash and shadow. The sky remains dim, as though night lingers, heavy and unyielding. Lamps burn faintly in the haze, their glow swallowed almost instantly by the dust. The city is caught between darkness and light, between night and day, between life and silence. By now, Pompeii is deeply buried. The streets lie beneath layers of pumice and ash. Roofs have collapsed beneath their weight, leaving broken beams and shattered tiles scattered in the gray. Courtyards are filled like basins, gardens hidden beneath drifting mounds, fountains silenced as their channels clog with stone and dust. The city that once bustled with sound is muffled, subdued, as though wrapped in a thick blanket. And still the mountain roars. From its summit comes the steady thunder of eruptions, the rolling growl of earth shifting and breaking. At intervals, a terrible sound rises the whoosh of something vast and unstoppable surging down the slopes. These are the pyroclastic surges, clouds of fire, ash, and gas, moving faster than any horse could run, heavier than the wind, more final than rain. They tumble across the landscape, filling valleys, sweeping across vineyards, smothering villages in their path. The people of Pompeii have no words for such a force. They do not know the science of it, the cause, or the nature. To them, it is a god's breath, a storm of death, the earth itself turned against them. Some run, though their feet sink in ash. Some hide, pressing close in vaulted rooms, believing the walls will hold. Others kneel, whispering prayers to Jupiter, to Apollo, to Venus, to any power that might show mercy. But mercy does not come. The first surges reach the outskirts, rolling low and heavy, hugging the ground. The air grows hotter, thicker, filled with choking dust. People cover their mouths with cloth, dampened if they can find water. Some crouch low, others cling to each other, yet the surges are relentless, sweeping through streets and alleys, filling rooms and corridors. Where they pass, life stills in an instant. Inside the houses, families gather. In one atrium, a mother holds her child close, the little one's face pressed against her shoulder. In another, a group of neighbors huddles together, arms linked, their oil lamp flickering dimly. Elsewhere, a man clutches a small chest of coins, unwilling to part from his treasures even in the face of death. Each of them is caught in their final moment ordinary, human, filled with the quiet details of fear and hope. The surges do not spare. They move with heat, with weight, with silence that follows swiftly behind. One by one, rooms fall still. One by one, voices fade. Pompeii becomes quieter, not through choice, but through the slow blanket of ash and fire. And then, almost suddenly, there is stillness. The surges pass. The mountain grows quiet. The air, though heavy with dust, begins to settle. The endless rain of pumice slows, then stops. The trembling of the ground fades to nothing. The sky is dim but steady, the roar gone, the silence deep. For the first time in 2 long days, Pompeii rests, but it is not the rest of sleep. It is the rest of endings, for the city lies buried now, sealed beneath meters of ash and stone. Its streets are hidden, its houses entombed, its gardens smothered, its fountains stilled. Its people, caught in their final gestures, remain exactly as they were, hands reaching, heads bowed, arms around loved ones. Time itself has paused within Pompeii, leaving every detail preserved. A loaf of bread still sits in the baker's oven, though no hand will take it out. A jar of olives rests on a counter, the fruit within untouched. Tools lie on workbenches, half-finished tasks frozen in place. In the theater, masks for a play remain ready, though no actor will ever wear them. Life has ended, yet life has been captured, a city stopped in its breath, waiting beneath the ash. The mountain stands silent now, its fury spent. The sky begins to clear, faint rays of light filtering weakly through the haze. Across the bay, other towns mourn, watching as smoke lingers above where Pompeii once lived. They do not yet know the extent of what has been lost, only that the world has changed, that the mountain they trusted has taken everything. For Pompeii, there is no more mourning, no more bustle of streets, no more laughter of children or songs of musicians. The city has slipped into silence, into shadow, into the embrace of time, and yet, in that silence, something extraordinary has happened. Pompeii is not destroyed in the way other cities are. It is buried, sealed, preserved. Its final day remains intact, hidden from the world but waiting. The ash that smothers also protects, guarding walls and paintings, mosaics and bodies, the very shape of life as it was. Centuries will pass, empires will fall, the world will change, but Pompeii will sleep undisturbed beneath its blanket of ash. These are the final hours, not only of the city, but of a moment in history, captured forever. Pompeii has fallen silent, yet its silence will speak one day when it is uncovered again. For centuries, Pompeii lay hidden beneath its blanket of ash. The world above moved on. Empires rose and fell, kingdoms shifted, languages changed, and generations came and went, yet beneath the hardened layers of stone and dust, the city remained. Its streets still lay intact, its houses still stood in shadow, its people still waited in silence. Pompeii was no longer a city of the living, but a city of memory, preserved perfectly in the moment it was lost. At first, Pompeii was forgotten. Travelers along the Bay of Naples spoke of the mountain's great eruption, but with time, the details faded into myth. Legends told of buried towns, but no one was certain where they lay. Vineyards spread across the land, their roots digging into the ash, their grapes ripening in the same soil that once held fountains and courtyards. Farmers worked the fields above, unaware that beneath their plows lay marble columns, painted walls, and the silent forms of those who had lived long before. It was not until many centuries later that Pompeii began to stir again. In the 16th century, workers digging a canal uncovered walls of stone, inscribed with letters. They puzzled over these remains, not realizing they had touched the edges of a forgotten city. For a time, the discovery was set aside, the earth allowed to keep its secret. But the silence could not last forever. By the 18th century, the world was beginning to look more deeply into its past. Kings and scholars hungered for the wonders of antiquity: statues, jewels, frescoes, treasures from Rome and Greece. In 1748, systematic excavations began, and the earth that had kept Pompeii hidden for nearly 700 years was slowly lifted away. Imagine the wonder of those first explorers. They brushed aside the hardened ash and found colors still bright, frescoes of gardens, gods, and myths shining as though newly painted. They uncovered mosaics, their tiles arranged in careful patterns, glinting faintly in the light of torches. They stepped into courtyards where fountains still stood, though dry, and into kitchens where pots still sat upon the hearth. Everywhere, life seemed to pause, waiting quietly to be seen again, and then there were the shapes. Hollow spaces in the hardened ash, strange cavities where once there had been bodies. An Italian engineer, Giuseppe Fiorelli, devised a method to fill these spaces with plaster, revealing the forms of Pompeii's final moments. The figures appeared exactly as they had fallen: a man shielding his face, a mother holding her child, a dog curled in its last struggle. It was not only walls and objects that had been preserved, but the very gestures of humanity, caught in their last breath. The rediscovery of Pompeii captivated the world. Artists, scholars, and travelers came from every corner of Europe to witness the city brought back to light. They wandered its streets, touched its stones, and marveled at the strange sensation of walking through a place where time had stopped. For the first time, the ancient world did not feel distant or imagined it was here, beneath the feet, vivid and real, every detail preserved as though the people had just stepped away. Pompeii became a window into the past. It showed not the grand battles of history, nor the voices of emperors and kings, but the ordinary life of everyday people. A baker's oven, filled with loaves that would never be eaten. A wine shop, with amphorae still leaning against the counter. A courtyard garden, where traces of plants could still be seen in the soil. Pompeii was not a monument, but a home, and through it, the world glimpsed the simple beauty and fragility of human life. Over the years, more of the city was uncovered. Streets stretched outward, lined with houses and shops. Theaters revealed their stages, silent but still grand. Temples stood once more in the light, their altars waiting in stillness. Each new excavation deepened the sense of wonder. It was as if a voice from the past had begun to whisper again, telling its story slowly, softly, through the dust of time. Even today, Pompeii continues to reveal itself. Archaeologists still dig, carefully brushing away the soil, uncovering frescoes that glow with color, mosaics that sparkle with detail, and objects that tell of lives long past. The work is delicate, patient, respectful, for Pompeii is not merely a ruin, but a memory, and each stone carries the weight of lives once lived. Visitors now walk its streets, quiet with awe. They trace their fingers along the grooves worn into the stones by ancient carts. They step into villas where walls are painted with gardens and myths. They stand in the amphitheater, imagining the sound of voices that once echoed there. And they pause before the plaster figures, their hearts heavy, their thoughts hushed, as though standing in the presence of ghosts. Yet Pompeii is not a place of sorrow alone. It is also a place of connection. To walk its streets is to walk beside those who lived 2,000 years ago, to share in their ordinary days, their hopes and joys, their fears and losses. It is a reminder that though time passes, the essence of life remains the same. We cook, we love, we laugh, we worry, just as they did. Pompeii whispers to us across centuries, telling us that though empires may fall and mountains may roar, the small details of daily life are what endure. And so, the city that was buried in silence became, once more, a city that speaks. Its rediscovery was not only the unearthing of walls and artifacts, but the awakening of memory, the memory of humanity itself, fragile yet enduring, fleeting yet eternal. Pompeii sleeps no longer. It breathes again in the minds of those who wander its streets, in the voices of those who tell its story, in the dreams of those who listen in the quiet of the night. Pompeii speaks, not with the noise of voices or the bustle of streets, but with the stillness it has carried for nearly 2,000 years. In that stillness, there are lessons soft, quiet, and deeply human for those who pause to listen. One of the first lessons is of impermanence. Pompeii was once alive with laughter, trade, music, and prayer. Families shared meals in shaded courtyards, merchants called out prices in the forum, children played in the streets, and lovers whispered beneath painted walls. It was vibrant, ordinary, alive, and then, in a span of hours, it was gone. What feels eternal in the moment, the security of home, the rhythm of daily routine, the certainty of tomorrow, is more fragile than we believe. Pompeii reminds us that nothing lasts forever, that life is both precious and fleeting, like a candle flame trembling in the wind. Yet the lesson is not meant to frighten us. It is meant to awaken us to the beauty of the present. The bread shared at dinner, the warmth of sunlight on a wall, the sound of laughter in the evening, these are not small things. They are the heart of living. In Pompeii, these simple details were preserved, and in their preservation they whisper to us across centuries, pay attention, notice, cherish what you hold now. Another lesson lies in memory and preservation. Though the city was buried, it was not erased. Time covered Pompeii, but it also kept it safe, as if guarding a secret until the world was ready to remember. When its streets were uncovered, they told stories of ordinary people, not kings or generals. A carpenter's tools, a baker's oven, a child's toy. These small objects remind us that history is not only made of great battles or famous names, but of countless quiet lives like ours, filled with routines, worries, hopes, and joys. Pompeii teaches us that every life matters, even those unrecorded, even those forgotten by time. It also teaches us the lesson of resilience through memory. Though the people of Pompeii did not survive, their world did. Their voices were silenced, but their gestures remain, their colors remain, their very presence remains. In a way, they endured through the mountain's ash, carried forward to us. This resilience reminds us that while our bodies pass, the marks we leave, our words, our love, our art, our small acts of kindness ripple forward, shaping lives yet to come. There is a softer lesson, too, about equality in the face of time. When Vesuvius erupted, it did not choose between rich and poor, powerful and humble. The villas of the wealthy were buried alongside the workshops of craftsmen. The grand temples fell silent as quickly as the modest kitchens. In the end, all shared the same fate. This truth is not heavy but gentle. It reminds us that beneath the differences of wealth or station, we are all the same human, fragile, living our brief hours beneath the same sky. Pompeii also shows us the strange paradox of stillness and continuation. The city stopped, yet because it stopped, it continues to speak. Had Pompeii not been buried, it might have faded like so many other towns of the ancient world, eroded by wind and rain, rebuilt and changed until nothing of the old remained. But because it was sealed, it became a message to us, a voice from 2 millennia ago saying, "This is who we were. This is how we lived." It is as though time itself chose to pause in this one place, so that we, far in the future, might learn. And then there is the lesson of silence. Pompeii is not loud. It does not shout its story. It whispers. The silence of its plaster figures, the hush of its streets, the stillness of its fountains all invite us to slow down, to listen more carefully, to see the beauty in quiet things. In a world filled with noise, Pompeii reminds us of the power of stillness. Sometimes, what endures is not the clamor of voices, but the hush that follows, the calm that allows us to truly see. Walking through Pompeii today, visitors often feel something unusual. It is not simply wonder, or curiosity, or even sadness. It is a sense of connection, a gentle awareness that those who lived here were not so different from us. They loved, they feared, they worked, they rested. They looked at the same moon we see now, and in recognizing them, we recognize ourselves. That may be the most enduring lesson of all. Across centuries, across the silence of time, we are never so far apart. So what does Pompeii teach us? To live gently, to notice the ordinary, to treasure the fleeting, to remember those who came before, to listen to silence, and to understand that though life passes quickly, it leaves behind traces, not always in monuments or books, but in the tender details of everyday living. In this way, Pompeii is less a ruin and more a mirror. It shows us not only what once was, but what still is, the quiet beauty of being human, fragile yet enduring, ordinary yet extraordinary in the very act of living. Let us wander, softly now, into Pompeii as it rests today. The city is no longer buried. The ash has been brushed away, the streets uncovered, the houses revealed to the open sky. Yet there is still a hush, a stillness, as though time itself lingers here, moving more slowly, whispering through the stones. The first step takes us onto a street paved with great, uneven stones. They are worn smooth by the passage of countless feet, grooves carved into them by the iron wheels of carts long gone. As we walk, our footsteps echo faintly, the sound carried upward into the open air. The walls rise on either side, some still standing tall, others only half their height, their plaster faded, their colors muted, but their presence steady. The air feels warm, touched with the scent of earth and stone. Overhead, the sky drifts toward evening, painted in soft shades of amber and rose. Shadows stretch gently across the ground, and in the hush of the hour, it is easy to imagine the city not as ruin, but as living once more. We pause at a doorway, stepping inside. It is a modest house, its walls still carrying faint traces of paint. In the center lies an atrium, open to the sky, where once rainwater would have gathered in a shallow pool. The floor beneath is patterned with tiny tiles, their design simple but careful, each piece set in place by patient hands. Around us, the rooms open quietly, small chambers where families once rested, a kitchen where meals were prepared, a shrine where prayers were whispered. Though the voices are gone, the spaces remain, like empty shells once filled with life. Returning to the street, we walk further and arrive at a larger house, a villa of wealth, where frescoes still glow with color. The walls are painted with gardens, with trees heavy with fruit, with birds perched in delicate branches. These paintings, though 2,000 years old, are vivid, as though freshly brushed by an artist's hand. We linger here, letting the colors wash over us, imagining the family who once gazed upon these same walls, perhaps taking comfort in their beauty after a long day. Our path leads next to the Forum, the heart of the city. Here, open space stretches wide, surrounded by the remains of columns and arches. The ground beneath is worn and uneven, yet steady. Once, this square echoed with the voices of merchants, officials, and citizens. Today, it is quiet. Only the breeze moves through, carrying the faint rustle of leaves and the distant call of a bird. Standing here, in the shadow of ruined temples, we feel the blend of past and present. The Forum is empty, yet alive with memory, as though time itself gathers here to rest. From the Forum, we wander toward the theater. The stone steps curve upward, rising in gentle arcs, leading to a wide stage. We sit for a moment upon the cool stone, gazing outward as the sun dips lower. In ancient days, this place rang with music, laughter, applause. Actors wore masks, voices carried across the open air, stories unfolded beneath the sky. Now the theater is hushed, but the shape of joy lingers in its stones, like the echo of a song that never fully fades. We rise again, walking slowly toward the edge of the city. Along the way, we pass a bakery where the stone oven still yawns wide. Round loaves were once baked here, their marks still visible in the hardened remnants found centuries later. The smell of bread is long gone, yet imagining it brings warmth, as though the walls themselves remember. At last, we come to the amphitheater, vast and oval, its walls rising into the twilight. The arena lies open before us, ringed with silent seats. Once it was filled with thousands, their voices cheering, their eyes fixed on the spectacle below. Now it lies in stillness, the grass creeping gently across the stone, the silence vast and complete. Standing here, we feel small, yet also connected to those who once gathered in this very place. As dusk deepens, the ruins grow quieter still. The air cools, shadows lengthen, and the stones take on the soft glow of twilight. Walking back through the streets, we notice details we might have missed before the carved figures upon a doorway, the faint inscription on a wall, the worn threshold of a shop. Each detail is a whisper, a fragment of life held gently in time's embrace. The city at night feels almost dreamlike. Lamps no longer burn, voices no longer call, yet the stones themselves seem alive, watching, remembering. As we walk, it is easy to feel as though we are not alone, as though the people of Pompeii walk beside us, not in flesh, but in memory. They are in the painted walls, in the tiled floors, in the very air that drifts through the streets. They are here, not lost, but present in another way. At last, we pause at the edge of the city. Beyond, Mount Vesuvius looms, dark against the fading sky. It is quiet now, its slopes softened by green, its summit peaceful in the twilight. Yet beneath its calm surface lies the memory of fire, a reminder of the fragility of all things. Still, in this moment, the mountain rests, and the city at its feet rests as well. We breathe deeply, taking in the stillness. The ruins of Pompeii are not sorrowful. They are serene, gentle, filled with a quiet dignity. To walk here is not to mourn, but to remember, and in remembering, to honor the lives that once filled these streets. As night settles, we leave the city behind, carrying with us the echo of its silence, the beauty of its stillness, and the timeless reminder that even in ruin there is grace. The story of Pompeii has carried us through time. We began in a city alive with color, and sound its markets bustling, its villas bright, its people full of ordinary joys. We walked through its final hours, as the sky turned dark and the mountain roared. We followed it into silence, into centuries of sleep, until the earth revealed it once more. And now we have wandered its ruins as they stand today, quiet and serene, a city preserved in memory. What remains as we reach the end of this journey is a feeling. Not of sorrow, though Pompeii was lost, not of fear, though its ending was sudden, but of stillness, of reflection, of gentle awareness that life is fragile and beautiful and fleeting. Pompeii reminds us that even the smallest moments matter. A loaf of bread cooling in a baker's oven, a child's laughter echoing in the street, a painted wall of gardens bringing color to a family's home. These were the treasures of Pompeii, treasures preserved in silence for 2,000 years. And in remembering them, we are reminded to notice the same treasures in our own lives, the warmth of a shared meal, the comfort of a quiet evening, the beauty of a sunrise, the softness of a kind word. The city also shows us that endings are not always final. Though Pompeii was buried, it was not erased. Its story continues, carried forward by those who uncover its stones, by those who walk its streets, by those who whisper its name. In this way, Pompeii still lives not as it once did, but as a memory, a teacher, a mirror. And so, as our journey comes to its close, imagine Pompeii not as ruin, but as dream, a dream of a city where time has paused, a dream where lives long past still linger in painted walls and silent streets, a dream where voices are quiet, but not gone, waiting gently in the air. Now, let us leave Pompeii in peace. The streets grow dim in the evening light. The houses rest in stillness. The theaters, the temples, the courtyards, the gardens all lie hushed beneath the watchful mountain. We step softly away, carrying with us the echoes of what we have seen. Take a deep breath. Let the silence of Pompeii settle into you, calm and steady. Feel its stillness wrap around you like a blanket, gentle and protective. Know that the city is at rest, and that you, too, can rest now. Let the whispers of Pompeii guide you into sleep, the sound of footsteps fading on ancient stones, the hush of the evening breeze moving through empty streets, the soft glow of twilight upon painted walls. These images drift around you, light as ash, settling slowly, peacefully, until your mind grows quiet. Close your eyes and let Pompeii fade into the distance. The city sleeps, the mountain sleeps, and now it is your time to sleep. Rest well, traveler. Tomorrow is another day, but tonight you dream in the company of Pompeii.